Welcome to Michigan Reimagined, presented by T.A. Forsberg and Wagoner Financial. And here's your host, Chris Buck.
So with healthcare costs rising and the overall health of Americans declining, most are searching for simple and honest ways to stay healthy and avoid disease. Here to share his health and wellness small business story is the owner of Lansing's Mossman Smoothies, Herbs, and More, Mr. Darian Draper. Welcome to the show, Darian.
Hey, how you doing, Chris? Thanks for having me, man. I'm glad to be here.
I'm really glad to have you here, too. I got to tell you, walking through your location was a real energizer for me, and I wanted to share your story. So let's start with your location. Where are you located, and what are all the things that you sell there?
Right. So we're located right here in Lansing, Michigan, in the Frandor area. So the address is 3030 Vine Street. And anyone who's familiar with the area, we're directly across the street from Qdoba and Jet's Pizza, which is connected to the Better Health Store. So, which everyone knows what the Better Health Store is. So, yep, right there in the heart of Frandor.
So what are you selling out of your store? Because it's got a couple of different facets to it.
Yeah, so the flagship product is the CMOS 102. So that was the first product that I started selling from home back in 2019. And since then, we've grown. We're in our second location now, and we have over 50 different herbs that people can utilize for teas, tinctures, or salves, whatever it may be. We have natural skin products, hair products, crystals, bracelets, incense, the whole homeopathic vibe. So we also sell 100% organic smoothies. We have vegan food options, and we're actually continuing to bring in more inventory and grow the company. So that's the good thing about it. We're still growing. Right
on. Yeah, because I would consider your business to be kind of two storefronts kind of in one. You got the one side is more of the store, the grab and go, buy things, and take them out with you. And then the other side is really a quick serve food service and smoothie service provider where you can get nourishment to consume either on site or to take with you too.
Yep. That was the idea, man. That was my idea for a long time. So I always wanted to have like a one-stop shop hub where people can come and get a variety of different products. They can get some good, healthy food options and whatever it is that they're interested in as far as the natural living lifestyle.
Right on. So you talked already about your bestseller. And what's the name of that brand again?
So that's the CMOS 102. And I'll probably get to why I named it CMOS 102 a little later. But even though that sells really, really good, of course, that's the star. But the most popular product that I have is actually called Super Iron and Immune Booster, which has CMOS in it. But it's actually a combination of a lot of different powerful herbs to boost immunity and your iron levels naturally.
Got it. Okay. So, if I'm a listener listening to the show right now, I'd be like, okay, Chris, what is all this about? And why would you have this guy on board here? Because you've got like GNC stores in the mall, and I'm not banging on that brand. I'm sure they deliver great products to people like that. But if I'm listening to this and you're talking about buying potions and concoctions and things that you can take home with you to make you feel better and be healthier, I think of like the GNC type of a brand. And then you have other people that are just making elixirs and kind of hocus pocus kind of stuff. So help us understand the validity behind the products, right? So the CMOS 102, and then you have the other one that has the iron deficiency. What's that called again?
Yep, the Super Iron and Immune Booster.
Got it. So help us understand the validity behind that. What's in it and let's talk about this. Let's go in chapters here. So what is it that's in that, and what does it exactly do to your body?
Okay, so to answer the first question, what separates us from GNC is GNC, they kind of focus more on the synthetic vitamins, the synthetic protein powders. They pretty much go that route. I try to stick to the natural products in their natural state, like herbs, roots, CMOS. That way the body can assimilate it properly and they can actually utilize the minerals how it's supposed to utilize them, rather as, some of those products are chemically based and they're synthetic and the body can't really process them the way that it's supposed to. So the Super Iron and Immune Booster, it contains products or herbs like elderberry. A lot of people know that elderberry is probably the most popular respiratory remedy for, the most popular remedy for respiratory illnesses, getting rid of flu-like symptoms and mucus and all the things that cause us to be sick. So that's the main ingredient that's in it, but it also has things like black seed. You can ask anyone in the herbal community about black seed. The saying is that black seed can cure pretty much everything except for death. So that's a very good ingredient. It also has sarsaparilla root, which has the highest natural content of iron than any plant on the planet. And iron is the most important mineral out of all 102 because it's the only mineral that's magnetic, so it binds to other minerals to help absorb into the body more efficiently. But also, iron carries oxygen through the body, and oxygen is the breath of life. So we also put sea moss in there so that you get the electrolytes and the H3O2 that you need to hydrate the cells. So during the pandemic is when that product actually took my business to the next level, because when I was started off selling the sea moss from home, people already knew me from social media, from talking about these things from over the years. And I kind of gained a following from talking about pretty much anything you can think of as far as, politics, health, history. So once I started to sell the sea moss, people kind of instantly gravitated towards me and my products because they knew that I had been talking about this stuff for years. I've been taking it and I've been teaching people and telling people to go and get these things. So right before the pandemic, that's when I released the Super Iron and Immune Booster. And as people started to come by it, and shortly after the pandemic hit, the symptoms that they had from the pandemic, it seemed like whatever they tried, nothing was working as far as getting rid of those symptoms. And they just felt like they were dying pretty much. That's what a lot of people were telling me. So once they started taking the product, within 2 to 3 days, I'm getting texts, I'm getting phone calls, I'm getting tags on social media about how literally within 2 to 3 days, this product was making them feel like they were getting some life back into their body. And from there, it just took a life of its own. No advertising, no marketing, just strictly word of mouth. And that's what led me to where I'm here now. So, if these products didn't work, if they wasn't effective, I would have went out of business a long time ago.
Right on. And so you're talking about COVID, obviously, and COVID symptoms and stuff. But when we talked a little off mic, you mentioned that, there's a way that your body gets susceptible to injury, right? Or disease, right? So, and this tends to penetrate what your body does to protect itself and get through to actually cure what is starting to fail, even if you don't even know you have that failure happening within your body, right?
Right.
So how does that work? Like, why is this so effective at breaking through? Because it's not just COVID, right? It's the flu, common cold. I mean, you were talking about diabetes or cancer. I mean, you tell the story, please. But how does one thing help your body fix all of those types of problems?
Because when you get down to the underlying causes of what they call disease, there isn't 100 different diseases. There's really only one disease, and the disease is mucus, inflammation, which causes mucus. And wherever you see dis-ease in a specific part of the body, you're going to see inflammation and mucus. So the reason that one product can help people solve whatever ailment they're going through is because it has pretty much everything that you need to not only dissolve the mucus, which is forming, to actually lock in acids and toxins and stop them from damaging tissue further. Once that mucus locks all that in, the sea moss helps flush it out of the body. And also it has 92 of the 102 minerals that the body needs to function within sea moss. So not only are you getting rid of the inflammation and you're getting rid of the mucus, you're revitalizing your body with all of the minerals that it needs in order for it to function properly and heal itself. Because the body is really made to heal itself, but we don't create the necessary environment for the body to thrive and be able to do its job. We're eating acidic foods, we're eating a lot of dairy, a lot of starches, a lot of sugars, and these things create an acidic environment within the body. And whenever you have an acidic environment in the body, inflammation occurs to kind of protect the body. but then you get the accumulation of mucus to build up because that's what the body starts to excrete where the inflammation is, like I said before, to lock in the toxins and the acid. So basically what sea moss does is it goes in there and it get rid of those issues, and it replenishes the body with everything that it needs to function.
And so you talk about there aren't all these hundreds of diseases. The disease kind of manifests itself from like one problem that begins in your body, and so when you take this product, it kind of finds where that issue is and tends to centralize there, or does it go throughout your whole body, but it just activates at the place that it needs the help the most?
So
or your body's looking for that kind of solution?
Yeah, so like I said, the body is made of 102 different minerals. Sea moss contains 92 of those minerals. So every ecosystem, every organ within the body, they require specific minerals in order for that part of the body to function right. So when you're taking sea moss, you're actually taking nature's multivitamin, and it goes and it tackles every part of the body, because what every part of the body needs is minerals, and it needs oxygen. And that's what you're going to be providing to the body by giving it sea moss.
Right on. Well, I want to give a nod to my friends at the Forsberg Real Estate Company. When it comes to creating the best living and working environments for the community, no one does it better than my friends at the Forsberg Real Estate Company. Brent Forsberg and his team create vibrant, holistic communities that inspire growth and encourage belonging. Focused on building stronger connections for people, a Forsberg project is always in tune with balancing relationships to create the optimum human experience. Since the 1950s, Forsberg's been enhancing the quality of lives in the communities they serve by following the principles of regenerative growth and aligning the resources and tools available. Reach out to my friends at the Forsberg Real Estate Company by calling 517-349-9330 or check out their website at lansingrealestate.com. So we've talked a lot about this product. So what medium does it come in? Is it a pill? Is it a tablet? Is it a drink? How does it work?
So we sell it in gel form. We also sell it in powder form as well, so you can add it to smoothies. You can add it to drinks. But the most popular form is the sea moss gel. Take a scoop, keep it moving. You don't have to worry about mixing it in smoothies. You don't have to worry about, putting it in capsules or anything like that. But we will have capsules as well soon for people that don't want to take the gel. We'll also have it in capsules as well.
So is it like a honey consistency? You say like a gel or like a jelly, or peanut butter, like that kind of? Is it solid? Or I was wondering if it was a liquid that you just kind of poured on top of something.
Yep. So the sea moss is more of like a thicker gel, like a jam. It's almost like a jam texture. And the super immune and iron booster, that is more of a syrup texture, like an elderberry syrup.
Got it. Okay. And you've got flavors?
Oh yeah, we have about 10 different flavors, and we have the unflavored, of course. And the flavors are flavored with 100% organic fruit. So you're still getting that natural flavor. Nothing is artificial, no preservatives or anything that will compromise the healing effects of the sea moss.
Got it. Okay. And so what's the recommendation? Is it how much of this do you need to take, and should you wait until you're sick to take it, or is it a preventative? You do it every day, and how does that work?
Yeah, it's something that you do every day. Just like you would take a multivitamin every day, you would take sea moss every day. So the sea moss is going to be providing you with your nutrition that you need on a daily basis in order for your body to function at its best. So it's good to take every day because it's going to work as a preventative. But if you happen to get sick, catch a cold or something, you can actually increase your dosage to not only give your body what you need for the day, but also help the body to recover from whatever it is that you're going through.
So how the heck did you get started in this? Who were your mentors? How did you learn all this stuff?
So I've always been a research junkie. I love to read about things that I don't know. And what got me started specifically in what I'm doing, so it was actually a list of different events that took place that led me here. But what initially started was I had really bad anxiety when I was around 17, 18 years old. And it was just general anxiety. I could be playing a game of hoops. I could be somewhere out with my friends, and my heart rate would just go to pounding, and I would think something is wrong with me. I would say, hey, I need to go to the hospital. So, my mom took me to the hospital maybe about 100 times for false alarms, and they would always hook me up to EKGs and things, and they would say, nothing is wrong. You look healthy. Everything is okay. You just have anxiety. So the doctors wanted to prescribe me with prescription pills, and just from seeing what prescription pills have done to the people around me, in the community, I didn't want to go that route. So I started to look for alternative ways to get rid of the anxiety, and that's what led me to the first guy who I came across. His name was Rick Simpson out of Canada, and he was curing people from everything from cancer to a lady had terminal cancer, actually, with about 3 months to live, who he helped using cannabis. He was using hemp oil, and that's what started me off. And after that, I just started reading whatever book I can get my hands on about natural homeopathic medicine. And around 2014, I came across a guy named Dr. Sebi. And Dr. Sebi just took my understanding and my knowledge to the next level, because he's the one that popularized CMOS and popularized the one disease theory with it being mucus. And once I started researching this guy, man, I'm like, wow. So, he had a court case back in 1988 where the New York Supreme Court tried to try him for practicing medicine without a license. They were trying to try him for claiming that he can cure all these different diseases that our medical institutions haven't been able to cure. So he actually beat his case. And the reason why he beat his case is because, and he didn't even have a lawyer, but the reason why he beat his case is because he came to court with 72 different patients that he had helped get over whatever ailment that he claimed that he could cure. So everything from lupus to HIV to cancer to sickle cell, diabetes, whatever it was, he had the patients there with their diagnostic sheets showing that they were diagnosed with these ailments. And then from the same medical institution that diagnosed them in the first place, he had the diagnostic sheets from them as well showing that they no longer had these ailments. So they had to basically dismiss the case. And of course, they asked him, how do you go about getting rid of these ailments? And he basically broke down the mucusless alkaline diet, which is where you raise your body's pH level to an alkaline state in order for you to get rid of whatever disease it is. Because you can go back to all the way back to Hippocrates. He even acknowledged that no disease can live in an alkaline environment. So we have a pH scale. We have a pH level in the body of 7.4. That's our natural state, which is alkaline. But due to the bad foods that we consume every day, all of the bad skin products and soaps and shampoos that we use every day, those are all acidic. Those are things that actually lowers the body's pH. So now the body has to fight to bring his pH, to keep his pH balanced. So it'll go so far as to pull minerals out of the bones to keep that pH level, which is going to cause a lot of different problems throughout the body. So
yeah, Dr. Sebi. Now, how do you spell his last name?
Sebi.
Sebi. And that was back in 88, but you read his book and that inspired you to it gave you a bunch of the wisdom and the direction that he thought the body should be going.
Exactly. Yep. And then after Dr. Sebi, I actually came across the guy who taught Dr. Sebi. And it was a Mexican guy out of Mexico, and his name was George Sevilla. So while Dr. Sebi was on his journey of healing, because he was over 300 something pounds at over 50 years old, and he had diabetes and high blood pressure and a bunch of different problems. So once he started to learn about herbal healing, herbal medicine, one of the places that he stopped was Mexico, and this guy put him on a 90-day fast, cured him from pretty much everything that he had, and he took a liking to Dr. Sebi because Dr. Sebi grew up in Honduras, so he spoke fluent Spanish. So he taught him herbology for home study, and he put him through a course, and that's where Dr. Sebi got his start. So once I came across his information, I took his online course, I read his book, and that took my knowledge even further than what it already was. And, I've still been learning every day because, every day is a learning journey.
And these products that you're selling now are all kind of the result of your knowledge base from all of these different stories? Or are there other comparable products that these doctors and other people out there in the practitioner, just selling making their own stuff as well? I mean, is there an ecosystem of people like you that are doing similar things that you communicate with?
Yeah, there are now. Wait, so you're asking me, is the products that I have like unique or something like a proprietary?
Yeah, let's start with that. Yeah, right. These are all your products, right?
Oh, yeah.
You're making these yourself.
Most definitely. So I ordered the sea moss directly from the Caribbean area, Jamaica, and we clean it. We let it soak in the water spring water for about 24 to 48 hours, just so it can kind of blow up and get rid of any salts or impurities that may be in there. And what separates my sea moss from other brands or other people that's trying to do it is I infuse other herbs in the water first before I include the sea moss. So by learning from the guy that taught Dr. Sabi, I learned about how to make tinctures, how to make teas. So I already was making sea moss on my own, just sea moss and water, making, my personal blend. But once I came across his information, I started learning how to make tinctures and teas. I'm like, hey, I can take this a step further. So when you combine other herbs like burdock root and bladderwrack with sea moss, you actually source the 10 missing minerals that sea moss doesn't have. So I started to mix those herbs with the water first to make a nice tea, and then I would mix the sea moss, and that's where I got the name Sea Moss 102, because everyone knows sea moss for having 92 minerals. So I kind of branded myself a little different, like, hey, you're going to get all 102 minerals. So, yes, these are my own products that I make from scratch, even though there's other businesses similar, around the country.
Right on. So who tends to be your customers? You talked about word of mouth.
Yep. So right now we have a very diverse customer base because back in 2019, 2020, it was more of the urban community that was my dominant customers. And that's because Dr. Sabi's impact in our culture, the Black community. So we were already kind of hip to sea moss and the benefits of it. But due to TikTok and Instagram and the virality of these posts, a lot of people now are learning about sea moss and She Legit and burdock root and all these different herbs that you can use to heal the body. So now we have pretty much everyone from all walks of life coming in, buying our products, and they return, they love it, and the products really work.
You talked about Better Health. They have a clientele across the street that tends to be people who lean forward into a healthy lifestyle, right?
Oh, yeah, most definitely. We get a lot of customers coming over from the Better Health store. They actually recommend a lot of their customers to come over and check us out because they can come in and get knowledge as well as products. Sometimes when people go into some of these stores like a GNC or a Better Health store, they don't have customers that have a knowledge of what these products do or which products they actually need for whatever symptom or whatever disease that they may have at the time.
Right on. And being close to a university probably doesn't hurt either, right?
Oh, yeah, that's great, man. That's really good. We get a lot of college students coming in. We have MSU faculty that comes in. So definitely, man, I'm in a great location.
That's great. So I want to thank the folks at Michigan Rise. This episode is brought to you by the Michigan Rise Pre-Seed Fund, providing early-stage funding to Michigan-based startups. Since 2020, Michigan Rise has helped high-tech, high-growth startup companies achieve commercial and technical milestones through capital formation strategies, talent development, and customer acquisition tactics. With financing options for every stage of the entrepreneurial journey, Michigan Rise significantly increases the impact of new ideas and research. Visit www.michiganrise.com to discover how Michigan Rise can help fuel your startup's growth. Michigan Rise is supported by the Michigan Economic Development Corporation and the Michigan State University Research Foundation. So we talk about your storefront. How long did it take for you to go from your house and selling to your friends and probably home deliveries and that kind of stuff to deciding to invest in a storefront with a sign above the door to get people to come in and see you that way?
It didn't take long at all. So I believe I started selling from home around September September, early October of 2019. And by April of 2020, I was in my first location, which was over on Mount Hope. Okay. So, I was getting so much foot traffic to my door to the point to where I actually had to go and start delivering. I'm like, hey, I deliver now. So if you guys need some product, just, write me on social media, shoot me a text, and, I'll bring it to your door. And the reason why, how I got my first location, the lady who does my hair, she told me that she was opening basically a hub for businesses to come in and to, have a space to do whatever it is that they're doing. So actually, I'm gonna take it back a little bit. So before I was selling sea moss, I actually was working with Michigan State on trying to bring a sports drink to the forefront. So because I always knew I wanted to do something in health, and my favorite show at the time, still one of my favorite shows, was Shark Tank. So I'm like, man, I got to create a product, and maybe I can surround it around health and get it out there. So I had seen a lot of alkaline waters popping up all over the place, and no one had created an alkaline sports drink. So I was already creating this concoction of lime and water and pink Himalayan sea salt. And I would take this before I would go jog, before I would go to boxing practice, whatever it may be. And I always noticed that my energy levels and my recovery was just, unmatched. So other boxers and people at the gym wanted to take it. And the name that I had came up with it was like very unique. So it was called Alkalade. So, we have Gatorade, we have Powerade, and this was going to be the all-natural alkaline sports drink called Alkalade. And I think from the name alone, that would have took it to the heights of possibly even a Gatorade or a Powerade. So that's what I was doing first, but I hit a roadblock because I couldn't find a co-packer that was willing to take on a company as small as mine and create a low, what do you call it? Like a low,
just low volume.
Volume,
yeah,
right? Yeah, low volume. Yeah. They wanted me to do like 15 or 20,000, and at the time I didn't have 15 or 20,000 to produce. And the facility that had to produce this had to be a facility that was certified in producing low acid beverages, which was hard to find as well. So I kind of hit a roadblock, and from there, that's when I created the sea moss. So as I'm telling her, now back to the lady who does my hair, before she got her new building, I was telling her about the Alkalade, and she was very interested. And she was like, hey, why don't you come over and get a space over there? But I'm like, well, I can't, I don't know if I'm going to be able to keep up with the rent, and, I only have a sports drink. I don't know, what am I supposed to do? So she was like, well, just try it out and see how it goes. But like I said, I hit a roadblock with that product. So once I started selling the sea moss, by that time, she was in her new location, and she had other businesses that was moving in. They was setting up. There was a couple of lawyers in the building. It was people that had, barbershops and hair salons. So she kept telling me like, hey, you got the sea moss going on from home. You might as well come up here. And I'm like, well, I don't want to get up there and get into an obligation of having to pay rent and not being able to, I had never had a business before. So I was, a little skeptical, a little, nervous about moving into a location. So she talked me into it to the point to where I said, okay, I'll give it a go. And I moved into the location, and I did a nice build out in there, had it looking really nice, started adding more products, and it's been, going great ever since, and it's continued to grow. It's continuing to grow. And I'm loving it, man. It's like my dream was coming true.
That's awesome. Well, I'm really happy to hear that. Now, we're starting to run out of time, but if you can talk a little bit about the smoothies and the vegan food, it was a natural supplement. I mean, are you a chef as well, or do you have your own recipes, or?
No, I'm not a chef. So as far as the smoothies, I've always been a big smoothie guy. So, I went around looking for all the different smoothies that I always leaned towards and the ones that I liked. Also, I looked up some that, would attract other people as well, like the, whatever it may be, green smoothies, whatever people like. So that part was pretty easy. As far as the food, there was a young lady in Detroit, Warren, and I was out there one day and I was looking for vegan food, and she was inside of another smoothie bar selling her vegan products. So I basically told her, like, hey, I'm opening a smoothie bar in Lansing, close to Michigan State University, and I would love to, carry some of these products. Like, how can we work out some type of partnership? Because she is a chef, and she's cooked for some, prominent people. So she said that she would sell me the food wholesale, and I can prepare it at my store and sell it from there. So that's basically how I got the food side going, with the food added on with the smoothies. So yeah.
Nice. Well, it's a heck of a story, Darian. I want to thank you for coming in today. Are there any other final messages, or how can people get in touch with you so they can buy your product?
So again, we're located at 3030 Vine Street, right in the heart of Frandor, and our website is mossmanherbs.com. You can also check out our social medias. It's Mossman Herbs, Mossman_herbs on Instagram, and it's Mossman Holistic and Wellness on Facebook.
Fantastic. That's great. Well, I appreciate you coming in here, and we've been talking to the legendary owner of Lansing's Mossman Smoothies, Herbs, and More, Mr. Darian Draper. Hey, thanks for sharing your story, and I wish you all the success going forward, and I'll be by to buy some stuff.
All right. Thanks, man. Sound good. Thank you for having me.
All right. And I just want to give a final shout out to all my sponsors. We got Forsberg Real Estate, Wagoner Financial, Triterra Environmental, Good Marketing, Keller Williams Advantage and Team, Michigan Rise, and the attorneys at Foster Swift. All wonderful people doing great work in our communities. And I want to remind you to follow and subscribe to Michigan Reimagined on YouTube, Facebook, and anywhere you find your podcasts. This is Chris Buck signing off for Michigan Reimagined.